I bet you have never been to a place like this before. Imagine a place that means a beautiful place to live. Their lives are completely unique, and you cannot compare their lives with anywhere else. You may think that I am talking about a country that does not belong to this world. Now, let's get to know this country closely. Cuba. A country with an authentic air, a strong history, and a history of hardship. Located in the Caribbean, discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1492, it is one of the few communist countries in the world. It hosted different cultures for 300 years, and then underwent a revolutionary process with the intervention of the USA's. Fidel Castro and Guevara started a revolution in 1953 and in 1959 with the overthrow of dictator Batista. Cuba changed completely overnight. At the end of the revolution, all U.S.-owned businesses, land, houses, cars, everything went to the state. The state distributed everything equally to the Cubans. Of course, the Cubans were very happy about this. You can see posters of Che Guevara and Castro in many parts of the country. In addition, they respect all the leaders who have fought against imperialism in the world. There is only one statue of a world leader in the country, and that is the great leader Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. There is no one in Cuba who does not recognize and respect Ataturk. In addition, the other statue belonging to a different nation is Nazim Hikmet of the Turks. Since it is a country emerging from the revolution, Cuba is a country that has managed to attract millions of tourists with its old-style buildings and vehicles and its unique beauty. 63% of the population of 12 million people in total is white. 27% is mixed race and 9% is black. This figure is not bad for an island. The capital, Havana, is the most popular place in the country. The official language in the country is Spanish. But since they speak English, you will not have a language problem in Cuba. You cannot enter the country without a visa. You can buy a $30 tourist card and visit Cuba freely for 30 days. If we had to describe Cuba with one word, it would be the word original. While the world is constantly developing, it has almost stopped in time and has become a country that lives its own realities. So what makes this country so original? People are supported according to their abilities with the education they receive at an early age. There is no unemployment. There is almost no salary discrimination. A doctor and a waiter can get the same salary. You don't have to worry about your family and children. There is no college and private school system. Since every child born is considered a state child, all education is completely free. During education, the state provides everything from books to pens free of charge. Cuba has the highest literacy rate in the world with 99%. So much importance is attached to education that women have to take sports, health, and child-rearing training while pregnant. There is no class difference in Cuba. All the streets and houses are identical. There are no homeless people sleeping on the streets. Almost all of the people have houses and they are given free of charge by the state. There are no bills like electricity and water. Cleanliness is not a problem. Soap, shampoo, deodorant, perfume, personal care products are provided by the state and, of course, free of charge. There is no fear of being ripped off. Since all shops and businesses belong to the state, everyone who works receives their salaries from the state. Since the prices are set by the state, you have no chance of being deceived. There is no money. The average salary is around $100. Eating and drinking is free. Meat, milk, eggs, and other basic needs are given to you free of charge by the government. People have a ration card, and what they buy is recorded in this ration card. Cubans love music and dancing. Their biggest entertainment is drinking rum and cigars and dancing with their families. Since there is no salary imbalance, an engineer and the workers can have fun together in the same place. No transportation costs. Bus and road-related expenses are completely free of charge. No health and treatment costs. Today, they are at the forefront of the world in the field of health. They were the first country in history to cure 90% of cancer, AIDS, and leukemia. Apart from their own country, they provide free health services to South America and African countries. The country has the best health conditions in the world according to country income. The biggest reason for their success in the field of health is that they had to produce their own medicines because they could not import medicines due to the embargo. The state, which invests a lot to train a doctor, forbids doctors to go abroad without permission because of the possibility that a doctor who goes abroad may not come back because he can earn more. The concept of human being is very important in Cuba. If one of the spouses inflicts any physical violence on the other, there are prison sentences starting from 5 to 10 years. There is no divorce because they don't usually get married. There are no property disputes, no alimony payments. They join their lives verbally by organizing a special night among themselves. If there is a separation, there is no paperwork. Cubans care a lot about nature. Many of the most beautiful beaches in the world are there. There is such a magnificent nature that you almost lose yourself. Mother Nature has been very generous to Cuba. The unique tropical fruits, the meeting of beautiful trees with the beaches. It is a corner of paradise. You can even go to jail if you cut down a single tree without permission. Cubans love stray animals very much, so much so that the state regularly distributes food to all stray animals. They all have ID cards. These IDs contain information about the animal's gender, age, name, health status, and where it lives. Veterinarians in the area where he lives take care of stray animals for free. They regularly report to the state on a regular basis. If one of the animals dies, it must be reported to the government, and the dead animal must be removed from the records. Almost as much value is given to nature and animals as to human beings. Harming even one wild animal is considered one of the biggest crimes in the country. There is no concept or distinction of religion in the country. Everyone is kind to each other and they embrace freedom. No one cares where you come from or what you believe in. There are no overtime hours more than 8 hours a day. People have freedom of time so they can do whatever they want. Various sports, horseback riding, dancing, or whatever you want. Everywhere in Cuba is full of entertainment venues. There are Latin dances, street performers, and musicians everywhere, and Cubans love to dance. In addition, these entertainment centers are also owned by the state, and the fun never ends. You can dance either in the venues or even on the streets with entertainment that lasts 24 hours without exaggeration. Sitting on the street in front of Cubans' doors and socializing has become a part of their culture. When you go as a tourist in Cuba, prices are different for locals and tourists. The people are extremely satisfied with the state, but since they have witnessed the luxurious lives of tourists coming in recent years, Cubans in the private sector can exaggerate prices for tourists. When you buy anything or simply take a taxi, you should bargain just like in other countries. You do not need to buy a large amount of pesos when you come to Cuba, as the dollar is used in hotels in many places. Internet is partially available in cafes, hotels, and restaurants. You can get a SIM card and use the internet during your vacation. When you come to Cuba, it is impossible not to ride the famous classic cars here. To feel the atmosphere of Cuba, you can collect unforgettable moments by making wonderful tours with classic cars. The sale of these vehicles is prohibited by the state. They can only be inherited from father to son. Owners repair their own vehicles. Because there are no spare parts due to the embargo, for example, if the engine of your car breaks down, you can install a Mercedes engine. Cubans are very friendly people. They can chat about all kinds of topics to get close to you. When they make friends with you, they will probably want to take you to a restaurant or cigar shop. This is because they try to earn side income with the commission they will receive. If you are really curious about the life of Cubans, you can rent rooms of Cubans and live in the same house with them and become a Cuban. In fact, this makes almost everyone a tourist in a sense. There are no industrialization or production initiatives in Cuba. The state started to allow the private sector since 2010. Only about 20% of them are under state control, and they usually operate places such as tourist facilities and cafes. There is also a segment that wants to earn extra money because of the luxurious life they see from the tourists. For example, a Cuban can earn a month's salary of a doctor in a few hours by doing taxi work. In order to prevent this imbalance, the state has introduced rules to prevent foreigners from getting into cars except tourists. One of the first things that comes to mind when it comes to Cuba is, of course, the world-famous cigars. It is almost a part of their traditions. Their greatest pleasure is to drink rum and cigars. More cigars are consumed than cigarettes in the country. Authorities ensured because the state takes care of the people, and there is a uniform administration. Most importantly, the people are happy with this. The penalty for any rebellion starts directly from 10 years. The crime rate of the country is almost zero. Since the penalties are heavy, people do not make mistakes, which makes Cuba a very safe place. In summary, Cuba is one of the rare places with colorful streets, houses, and cars, where time almost stops and people have fun, where people with magnificent parks respect each other, animals, and nature, and should definitely be seen as a tourist. Cuba is still recovering if you want to live there. Consider the effects of the embargo and the old buildings. Although it is this artistic old image that makes Cuba original. Every day the state is renewing everything without damaging its texture. If you can afford to spend $1,000 a month in the country, you can live like a king, spend time with warm Cuban people, and enjoy the fun. One of the most important beauties that Cuba has added to the world is salsa, their traditional dance. Salsa, a dance with a partner, literally means sauce. Salsa, which is named in this way due to the combination of two different structures related to music, has become a favorite dance type that is preferred in many countries of the world today, as well as festivals and competitions organized. Although the USA has made changes to the salsa dance with a capitalist approach to simplify its learning and spread, it continues to preserve its essence on the streets of Cuba. Don't be surprised if someone asks you to dance on any street. Just surrender yourself to your partner and that wonderful music. Believe me, you will not be able to give up the flavor of this sauce. However, it is not a suitable place to work and earn money. Even the private sector is under state control, and if you are not going to earn money but to have fun, you should definitely see Cuba. If you are going to do a job, it should definitely be for tourists. You can do jobs such as hotels, restaurants, and enjoy Cuba. If you liked my video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel so that I can produce such content. You can contact me on my Instagram account for any requests, questions, and suggestions. See you soon.